I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. Got a full crowd, except for our planner. As always, we work from an agenda based on information that I've gotten about a week or so before the meeting, and hence the agenda that we have tonight. Our first order of business is approval of the 2/23/26 meeting minutes. I have a couple of minor changes still. The fourth category on there, just the correction of the spelling annual. I guess we should agree on the votes that we had, Dave, because I saw your email was, you wanted 5-0 all the way across during the meeting, but Glenn was actually here at the beginning of the meeting for the first couple votes.
Okay.
For the approval of the minutes and the annual report. So as it stands right now, it looks good. And I have to change the last vote to 5-0 for us to adjourn because Glenn wasn't here at that time. And then under the Carroll County Department of Planning update, resignation by Javier is the 2026, not 2025. So he left January 31, 2026. And to my understanding, there is not anybody been hired yet or appointed.
Well,
Oh, you know different, Drew?
well, it's not, oh, January, duh. I'm thinking December. I'm gonna say, okay, that's good.
Brenda was going to come, but I felt like from the comments that I got from you, Drew, and Dave, I think all of you that were at the meeting on the 4th of February, there was no public comment about New Windsor. So I forwarded with the agenda the updates, if you will, to the plan that were made by the planning commissioner, by the planning committee. What are they? Planning members, Carroll County planning staff, that's the word I want. And there was nothing that related to New Windsor, but they do want a vote from us for an acceptance of the plan from the New Windsor portion. And since you were there, you hadn't heard anything from public comment, we had already agreed with the plan. I'd like to get a motion for us to vote on acceptance of the New Windsor portion of the Carroll County annual report.
I motion for that.
Motion from Kevin,
Second.
second by Dave Grayson. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it, 7-0. Yes, and that was the water resource element. My mistake, not the annual plan, the water resource element. Annual plan we already did last meeting. My mistake. So let's do this again because I said it wrong.
Okay.
So the motion is the acceptance of the New Windsor portion of the 24 water resource element plan.
I make the motion.
Motion from Kevin, accepted by Dave, second by Dave. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Okay. Once again, the ayes have it 7-0, but that's the one that counts, the water resource element. All right. Council updates from Councilman Dave.
The minutes?
Yep. I thought we did.
Did we?
No, you didn't. You were going through them.
Make a couple changes. There we go. God, I'm so out of practice. It's been a month. Okay, but there are other comments on the minutes. Okay, can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion, we accept the minutes with the noted corrections.
Okay,
I second that motion.
Motion by Drew, second by Kevin. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it 7-0. All right, now we can go to Councilman Dave Hoffman's updates.
Okay, a couple things. As I've been reporting, we've been working on the budget. It's now about 98% complete. Looks like we have a balanced budget, no tax increases. That's the 10th year in a row with no tax increases to balance our budget. It's just about $3.4 million. Probably the biggest budget we've ever had. And so we'll be finishing that up in probably next month, as we have to have the tax rate information into the county, I think by early May. And at the April work session coming up, GMB, our engineer, they're going to be doing a proposal, going through the proposal for planning design and bidding services for our wastewater treatment ENR upgrade. So the plant, we're looking to upgrade it to the enhanced nutrient reduction method, and that would be an upgrade, and they've been putting together all the everything we need to do to make that happen, utilizing grants and things from the state. So we have to be making a decision whether we're going to push forward with that or not soon.
That has nothing to do with capacity. That's just,
No, it absolutely has everything to do with capacity. It'll allow us to increase our capacity. However, the more capacity you request, the less the state will provide you grant funding. So you have to find that balance. And just because we ask for additional capacity does not mean the state will give us the capacity. They have something that they consider the proper growth, and it may not be what we want. Currently our capacity is 115,000. We were hoping to get 165,000 gallons. And that's what we were going to go to the state with and see if that would be considered reasonable growth through them, and that'll give us additional capacities. Don't know. Some of the preliminary things I looked at may not come back in with 165. They may be looking at something like 125. That gives us very little additional capacity, maybe 40 units. And it's still probably going to come with a price tag to the residents of about $6 million after the state grants and funding. Now you can do nothing, right? We can do nothing, and the problem with that is, as the Maryland Department of Environment changes their rules and continues to push for cleanup of the bay, they could direct us to do it, and then we'll be like we were before, with absolutely no money coming from the state to help us fund that.
Unfunded mandate.
Yes, exactly. So we have to, play the game, figure out what's the best, where the sweet spot is, what we can do, and go from there. We know it's going to come. They're not going to continue with the regulations as they are today. They're always getting harder, and things have to be cleaner. So we've been working on this for quite a while, but we're getting to the point now where we have to make a decision soon. Let's see. Pedestrian safety improvements up at Town View Circle. We've had a pretty big discussion on that at the meeting. There was a young child that got hit by a car up there going to the school bus. And the school bus stop is at the bottom of the hill by 31. They have that split entry, and the stop is down there. She did not get hit down there. She got hit up at the top, where the roads all come together up there. And there is one stop sign, but it's a congested, tight area up there, and she got hit by a car. And she seems to be okay. Everything seems to be okay with her. However, we're trying to figure out if we need to put another stop sign up there, or maybe some additional road markings for crosswalks and things like that to make that area safer. I did take a drive through through the area the other day, and it's the whole community is tight. There's a lot of houses. The roads they seem narrow, although there's not a lot of cars parked on the side. I think people have to park in their driveways, and they have designated parking areas in certain areas along the road. And there was not a lot of cars. No, it was during the day when I did that. There was not a lot of cars around, but it just feels compact up there. And that one intersection right at the top where one lane going down, one lane coming up the straight, and then the other road comes into it all right there. It's a tight area, and you know, kids and you know, they're not always paying attention. And I think it was maybe in the morning. I think it was in the morning when parents are dropping kids off and kids are, you know, and so there was just a lot of activity there. So we're seeing what we can do to help. We think we're going to try to get some pedestrian markings on all our intersections around where there's the ramps and try to get the crosswalks in. And it looks like we are able to use some of our highway user fees to do that, not just pave the road, but we're allowed to put markings. So I think we're going to look into maybe doing that around town as well.
I followed that bus one day, not too long ago, within the last week or so, and at that stop, 27 kids got off. 27 on one.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids up there.
27 kids in a stop?
Wow.
Would go up.
That's awesome. And
So all the kids from up there are there. Yeah, there's a lot of kids there.
that's a neighborhood that's sad.
I know, I'm sure you've thought about it, but everything up there now has been turned over to the town. I mean, there's no
Right.
builder responsibility for any of that, okay?
And last thing is on April 9th, from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Fire Hall, the Maryland Department of Transportation is presenting the design for the sidewalk improvement project, so the streetscape that we've been talking about forever. They're going to have a setup over at the Fire Hall from 5 to 7. You can go, you know, see what's going on with that, look at your property, see what they're proposing. And the folks that are impacted along High and Main Street, they've received letters recently because the state's coming, you know, needs some right-of-way information and they're doing all that kind of stuff. So should have received letters and things like that. But this is an open meeting that anybody can go to see, you know, what's going on with this whole
I
project.
got my notice in the mail today.
We got a flyer in the mail today.
I think I got a flyer today about it.
You got it today?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Very excited. I was like, oh, this is cool. I meant to bring it. So,
They're
sorry.
coming to us to tell us, or are they coming to tell us about our specific property?
Well, they're gonna go through the whole plan, right? But you'll be able to
Yeah, on
specifically.
the 9th, it'll be the whole plan, but the
Yes.
letter, they talked about coming out and
So
setting an appointment.
They have to do, each homeowner has a right-of-way issue possibly, and they're sending out evaluators to check that out, and they come up with a fair market value, and they're gonna say, hey, we need to be on your property, we're gonna offer you $500 or whatever, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what kind of offer they make, but they need to have right-of-ways to make this project happen, and because they're gonna be stepping on your property, and they have to go through all the right things to do that, so.
But it's not a formal presentation from what I read, it's gonna be like
Oh, yes.
displays, yeah, it's just
Yes,
gonna.
they're gonna have displays and,
No, I don't think they can answer any questions or,
No, I don't
no, I think
think
it's
so.
just,
yeah, I think questions will be asked and be able to be answered, and probably, you know, there should be people there that have some insight, you know. We've done all the hard negotiations about, you know, getting the walls back in and all those kind of things, and there may be some still design issues that change as they you know go through everything, but we're pretty far along in the process now, and once they go through a couple more hurdles, I think that, you know, they have the whole bid schedule and everything that we'll be going through, so we're closer than we've ever been. Closer than we ever been, so I'll say that.
That's on the 9th of April.
April
5
9th,
to
5 to 7 at the Fire Hall.
Okay, we'll want that in the minutes, good. Cool.
That's it.
Okay. On to the comprehensive plan. I will be shocked if we don't finish this round tonight. All righty. Where is it? Turning on. Okay, that's where we left off. All righty. I'll make it a little larger too.
Like the red.
You wanted that larger? Is that what I heard?
Hey, one of these days, we're gonna get a TV back there too, so we don't have to keep moving.
Yeah.
We're gonna get it in the budget one of these days.
All right, so this is section 12, and we're up to the financial implications. Let's see, what is 12? I was looking at the email that Javier sent saying that he was leaving. He also said that he had updated maps for us. Did anybody say anything to you, Dave, that they had them for us?
I thought they provided us them.
No, that was,
The real large, remember the?
yeah, well, we had them, but he had, yeah, there was something that was missing from all of them. Oh, I know, it had to do with the, I don't know if it's Snyder. We wanted that included in the gross area boundary. There was something that was, he was gonna do all new set. And I have in the email where he was saying he was resigning, and that day he was gonna leave a copy here. And that was before last meeting, I haven't seen it, so I thought maybe, I'll ask him, because I'm coming over to see him tomorrow. So, I'm looking to see what section this is. On here. Busy, look away from the screen. Yeah, community involvement, there we are. All righty. So, community involvement, we're down to the fiscal implications. I think we've chatted about this before, about surveying the community periodically. Do we want to have that in there as a recommendation?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't particularly think surveys are worth the effort to do them. We
Yeah.
get very little participation that way,
Right.
with surveys. So I don't know what the best way is, but I don't think a survey is a good way.
That's why I asked, I mean, this is what we had in there from the last time, and so I wanted to make sure. All right.
A lot of surveys get conducted on social media from what I hear.
But there's also an expectation when you've done a survey and say, I would like to have, you know, a red light or a stop sign someplace, then there's an expectation that comes from a suggestion of something to talk about. If you get 2 or 3 people say, all of a sudden there's a view. And I'm not sure that's what our role is. If we, I mean, this is an opportunity, not necessarily survey, but for people to come and participate in something that they might like to see that we consider in our plan. So, all right. So number 2 becomes number 1. Continue to provide updates on projects, events, and the implementation. Continue, because we do have.
Yep.
Or I'm going to say and/or website. We still call it a newsletter, isn't it? The bi-monthly, yeah, okay. Citizen committees implement appropriate strategies from the plan, as well as other community projects.
Up in that
Okay,
prior paragraph, just where very depending is underlined, it should be.
not really, that's just one of those things that happens in Word. It doesn't like the word choice.
It's not, yeah, it's not proper.
Oh, I see, fiscal impacts would vary,
Very.
are dependent, how about are dependent, are dependent.
ARY.
Yeah, very, not.
And then dependent,
I'm with you.
Yeah,
and then dependent upon, I believe.
there we go.
Would vary
I guess depending is fine.
depending upon the method used or survey can be resident. Okay, good. If I get rid of all the blue underlines that are in here, I'm just becoming immune to them, yeah. Do we want to have a recommendation to form citizen committees?
I think, I would be okay with that. We are thinking about for other things, even putting together one for water and sewer thing to have
Okay.
the citizens committee. So I think if things came out of here, it would be good to have the citizen input on it. My opinion, that's me.
Yeah, you need to have that.
And these are recommendations, we're not necessarily the body that would implement those. That would be more the council or the subcommittees of the council.
Yes, we definitely want number 4 to be number, can we make that number 1? That'd be our top recommendation.
Well, we actually could, because I know the last time we did this, I think we picked sometimes to stay longer periods and just hash it out and didn't talk about anything else but the plan. And that is one way. We could have a regular monthly meeting and then have a supplemental meeting to just do this and,
Work session.
yeah, like a work session.
Work sessions, yeah.
Council had it.
I mean,
Also, each person has a chapter that they go through, and they do it, and they come in with their recommendations. I mean, there are other things we could do.
this process has pretty much taken my term on the council, on the
It
commission.
took us, I want to say 2 to 3 years when we did this back in.
Yeah.
I started in 6 or 5, well, I came on in 5, and it started right after that, and we finished it sometime, and it was called the 2007 plan, even though it went finalized into 8, and then amended it almost immediately, which is part of the problem because of the timing of when it comes in, because that was based off 2000 data. We're in 2026, and we're working off 2020 data.
Yeah.
Wait till we get to these tables, because these numbers are way off. But yes. And and actually, that might be a good idea. I believe tonight we'll get through this. So I'll talk about what I see as our next step, but I think maybe next meeting or the following meeting, we could just have as an agenda item, talk about suggestions on, because it's somewhat impaled in our brain.
A little fresh.
This process. Okay. Interjurisdictional coordination and communication. Does any? This essentially we kept. This is the same as
Yeah.
what we had the last time. Anybody have anything in their notes of comments, changes?
Oh,
There it is. The current conditions.
find this in here.
That's the first sentence. The government as a whole, the planning commission, the county planning.
Yeah, well, and are we talking about under the town-county agreement or just under current conditions? In the big picture, there is some communication between the county and the different jurisdictions. An example is, we were asked to be involved up there with the commissioners a couple times in this past year. Gary will talk about a lot of things that he has, and in specific, when I've talked to him about the town-county agreement, and us not having the same involvement from the planners, his caution was, be careful what you ask for, because they may then maybe put something additional in for us and take something away from what he gets. I'm not sure how to balance that and who the bigger picture is, but us and Union Bridge, to the best of my knowledge, are the only municipalities in Carroll County that do not have a planner on their staff. And, and I keep wanting to ask Perry when I see him how they do it. My guess is he does it, but but I haven't asked that question. But that is something that potentially might need to be addressed. I don't know. This process we've gone through, if we had a professional planner and we made the conscious decision at the beginning of this, we discussed it in this group, and I talked about it with Neil, that if we went and spent the money on this and had a professional planner, there certainly would be other things that would be raised and that maybe could make this go larger. Whereas the general theme seems to be, we like the small town feel, we want to stay with that. There's not an impetus somewhere to go and change from that. So we made the conscious effort to just kind of dust off what this thing looked like before.
These other towns, do they have full-time planners?
Yeah.
For the most part, yes.
Full-time?
Yeah.
I mean,
I sat with a guy down at the last MML meeting. He's the county planner, the planner for Mount Erie, a large jurisdiction. But he was telling me how, because he did a little survey when he came in, he's the one that told me that we're the only ones. And then he's mentioned the names of some of the other places. And I feel like we're so far along in the process, I don't want to go and ask for another set of eyes on this. Let's get this one done. And let's get that input for the next time this has to be done.
I would agree with that. Bring them in for the next plan. We're too far down the road.
Yeah. And it may be, that'll be something poor Dave will get to take to the town council for additional funding to help with that. I think you were on here, we had Emily Ann sitting here.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, because she was the second scorekeeper that we had on this. Originally, I think even Price had said he could help, and then he backed off altogether. Then somebody from the state was with us for a while, and then there was the head of the Maryland Department of Planning came here to the meeting and essentially shut that down and says, no, we can't do that. And then we had kicked it around, and we put a little request out, and we got Emily Ann, and we had her, and then this made her sick. She left, and now you're stuck with me being the scorekeeper.
How's Union Bridge handle it? What are they?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I mentioned Perry's the mayor, and I see him. I don't know any of the other people over there, but
You know,
They have no need for anything. There hasn't been any activity in Union Bridge or in Union Bridge for 25 years. They've been stagnant for,
well, that new development's supposed to be going in. I've heard.
yeah, so they say.
No, no. I think it's
The Phillips or the Bowman farm.
Oh, wow. I don't know. You're back to the days 6 gas stations in town. I don't know. I don't know those names.
Yeah, when I believe it.
All right. The town-county agreement. Looking through this for tonight, I highlighted in green as we come up things that I thought maybe, if nothing else, we discuss what we want in there. Because I'm not sure you were hinting at this. I don't feel like we get, it's not coordinated planning from.
No, we don't.
And I fully expect when this is over and they will get this to review, I'm sure we're going to hear and get comments back. And I talked to Brendan, I talked to somebody else up in Carroll County and said, thank you. I'll say it in advance. Thanks for your comments. But we're not gonna rework this. If you've got you had people here, we've had 5 different people, at least 5. I think I'm missing somebody during this process, and they're supposed to be helping shepherd us and pointing out areas. We don't really get that, but we do have 8 versions of the maps. There is coordinated planning, I do think, with review of subdivision and site plans. You know, when we have something, we'll usually have comments from Carroll County, either before we'll have a presentation here or afterwards, so there is interaction there. But when it comes to the master of the comprehensive plan, I don't think so, and I feel like I could pull those out. Just take those out, just take those words out. You probably know Word better than I do, maybe, Rebecca, but see how I had an extra space in there? And those blue lines. So that's what I'm used to on those, so. I'm an Excel person, I'm not really a Word guy, so. Yeah, there are a couple of small things that were in here that I see are not here. So Emily Ann did take them out. We had talked about this before. Does anybody else have any other comments in here? Okay. Joint comprehensive plan. Let's see.
It's just much in preparing.
Yeah, we did take out some wording in here. There is some involves participation by the county and town planning staff. I had a comment about the non-existent town planning staff, but we didn't have that in.
It looks like it was removed, what we removed.
Yeah. Because the last sentence does talk about how,
That looks good.
yeah, so. County provides staff assistance, okay.
Is this a temporary staffing at the county level, or the planners, if they have a shortage of planners, if they, it's like a revolving door?
It's a revolving door. My understanding is from each of all of the ones that have been here have left for a better position somewhere else.
Yeah.
And my understanding, oh God, who is it? The previous head of the Carroll County Planning, I remember talking with her, something was going on up in Westminster, and she was telling me that she wishes she had a larger budget to be able to pay more to be able to compete with some of the other jurisdictions, but also her more experience she puts with the larger municipalities that have more challenges, more going on in their plans. You know, like up north part of the county, you know, Manchester, Mount Airy, Westminster. I kind of see that from a management perspective. So we get the newer, greener, and you know, if you get some experience, certainly can't stand in their way. But it's not a whole lot of continuity for us. We got spoiled. So we had Barb with us for 4, 5, 7 years. Then we had Bobby for, I would say, another 5, 7 years, something like that. But these last 5, 6 years, nobody's been more than a year. I don't think we've made 2 years with any of them. Okay. Mutual referral of development proposals and other planning activities.
So in the town and county agreement, it does specify they provide planning personnel or?
This is something that I've never seen. Gary does see, and I'm not sure, that doesn't come to the council, does it, Dave? I mean, talking about it, I'm sure it comes up, but you don't actually see it and vote on it, right?
I don't think we vote on it, but I think we have, I think I have seen it in the past, and reviewed it, I think she calls it a section in there that talks about, we're actually gonna give you something.
Is,
Sorry.
can
They
we,
do review site
Well,
plan.
they
Yeah.
do, the county does lots of things for Gary, I'm not, the town and county agreement is a good thing. I don't know
Yes.
that it says anything about planning, that, hey, we're gonna give you somebody, and they're gonna, I don't know that that's in there. And obviously, we know that.
how about which way I think we should get a chance to see it. Me, ask Gary,
Yeah, I think he just has.
okay, and I'll CC you on it. Okay, and then I have no idea if it's a 1-page document, if it's, 20 pages. My guess is it's not real detailed, but we'll talk. But the short of this is that we got much more assistance when we did this 20 years ago. And they acknowledged that when we were up there in October, because I think it was Brenda stepped up to the commissioners and said on our behalf, just to, full disclosure, that we have not been provided a planner for them to do this, and they've essentially been on their own. And if I'm not mistaken, the commissioner you knew made a comment that,
The vice chair.
well, we really should look at this and do something for them. Or whatever that means. Oh, it's at least nice to have a forum to be able to.
They mentioned it, yes, I'd like to see them do it, but yeah.
Your outfits, I will put a millions here.
Yeah, go ahead, see, what's they're probably working on their budget, right? They can, yeah. I don't think, is that a word, sewerage? Isn't it just sewage? You should have seen that enough times, Dave.
I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's a word.
Sewer-age.
Sewage.
It's not sewage.
Yeah, it's not underlined, so evidently it's.
Good point. Okay, there we go. That is the answer. Just seeing, okay. Let's see. Okay, and there's something we had in here, that taken away, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Council of Governments.
I thought we took that first sentence out.
Is it, I don't think it's quarterly anymore, is it, Dave?
Wow, tells you how old this is. Mark, supposed to follow with Michelle and Neil and get information on how that works. So you think we took that first sentence out? Okay.
Yeah, I show it was crossed out in my original book.
Yeah, I had in here, is it still true? And then like I said, I highlighted that.
I don't know if it's quarterly or not, and then they do meet with that, but I don't know if it's quarterly.
I think, and because it starts out in the past, we don't really need to
Yep.
put that in there.
How about this?
Take out in the past.
Yep.
Well, because it's not done anymore, so why even mention it?
Well, I'm not so sure they don't.
Imagine there's some kind of a dialogue.
How about the county commissioners periodically meet with mayors from all the towns?
Agree with that, and that would give us a trouble.
In the 90s it did. It was just a year.
But then has it been replaced by the Council of Governments? That's our next sentence says it's been replaced. That's
Oh,
why I didn't think we needed it at all.
Is there a council of government?
I don't know what that is. I don't know what the council is.
Never heard, I've never heard.
okay.
I'm not aware of that.
Some of them.
Get rid of that shading.
Music.
That sentence, these meetings have been replaced by council of governments. I'll check with Kevin. Because if there is a council of governments that's a replacing meeting with the mayors, maybe there's not a council of governments and he has periodic meetings with the county commissioners, which I think he does. Okay. And if either way, this sentence will come out or it will replace the first sentence.
Yeah.
But included are representatives, well, from all 8 municipalities. You know, yeah, I think, gosh, I don't know what it's called. I'll ask him what it's called, because I know there's a meeting like this that he goes to sometime. I don't know how often. All right, this will be me. What the heck, where did it go? Oh. All right, policy regarding annexation. Yeah, I think it's true.
I have that the town, county, it wasn't an agreement, it was a policy statement. I have that was, we're talking about changing that wording.
Well, yeah, that's what we have in the first sentence.
Correct.
The town-county agreement contains a policy statement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't continue reading it, okay.
Yeah, I think that's a true statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where's the map? Area. So that is number 6, okay. Apologize for jumping off of there. Forgot I'm not, that others can see this too. jump back to this, I apologize. Yes, land uses on number 1. Okay. Anybody else have anything in the section? Okay.
MML.
Yeah, we did work on this section because the previous one talked of Maryland Association of Counties, MACO, but we changed it to move over to talk about the Maryland Municipal League.
So that the first sentence, the Maryland Municipal League members are elected 23 counties, Baltimore, that's 23 counties in Baltimore City is MACO information. The Maryland Municipal League is 157 municipalities in the state of Maryland.
Yeah, I'm just looking at okay, so that wasn't, okay. So it is MACO that are the,
But we don't want MACO in there.
Right.
Because although I think MACO is still somewhere, I don't hear that very often. And I don't
right.
think we participate.
MML, we hear more of that.
We're definitely MML.
How about the Maryland Municipal League members are representatives of the 147, or
157.
are they representatives,
What
or,
were they elected?
oh, they are the elected, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's who we are. Of Maryland, just said 23 for the 157.
Are the 157 elected governing officials of Maryland's 23?
No. It's not 157 elected officials, it's 157 municipalities.
Okay.
In the state.
Okay, got it, okay, I'm with you.
Maybe the MML is made up of 157 members.
No.
No, I'm with you.
157
Municipalities.
Municipalities.
You want to use the word municipalities or jurisdictions, or would?
Municipalities.
Municipalities, okay. Is that capital? It will be.
Can be. Is it still the state's 24 subdivisions? Oh, okay.
Oh. I don't know where you are with that.
Last paragraph. I go fast, sorry.
I don't know if that states 24 subdivisions. I'm not sure.
I would say, why don't we just represent the viewpoint of the state before the governor?
Of the various state municipalities.
Yeah, of the state's municipalities, yeah. Just change 24 subdivisions to municipalities.
I think that's pretty accurate summation of it.
An important voice for county government in Maryland? The last paragraph, first sentence.
I would say municipal.
Yeah.
Probably better off saying this.
Are they essentially, are they like a lobby? They lobby for
They're kind of like a lot.
But the difference is instead of somebody paid from the outside representing the group, these are members. You know, like I've worked in education, and we would have somebody from our School for the Blind. We would go down there representing the blind institutions in the state. So they're not separately paid as a lobbyist would be, but
Strive to ensure that issues conform to the, you have to change that to municipalities also?
yep.
Yeah, go back to that municipalities, I and the T on this.
Well, there they make it bright red, so that will come out, but yes. You're all going to get a copy of this to look at, but yes, good. Yep. I have this next section,
Xed out.
most of it.
I have, yeah, at present, no public transportation is offered or planned. And then I have that Xed out as well, though, I guess.
There were 4 paragraphs. I have 3 scratched out and only keeping the last paragraph, but she kept in the first paragraph and the 4th paragraph. So that's what's sitting there right now. I open it to the floor for what others recall.
Well, this is New Windsor's plan,
Right?
and we're talking about Carroll County at best. I'm not sure why it's there.
Yep.
Okay. Scratch it all.
I don't think it's relevant.
Nope, no relevance. Oh, yeah.
Okay, before we do that, though,
Oh, come on.
that last sentence. I'd see that we added that into this. Is there any of this we should keep, or we just say, or just take it all out? We do have public, no, that's private. Cats is private, isn't it? Yeah. All right.
Doesn't hurt to leave it in.
Going twice?
Sold.
Okay. Analysis of community needs.
That paragraph looks good.
Well, you see in here the annual review of the town-county agreement. So somebody's doing that, if that's true. And monthly attendance by a liaison planner,
Question mark.
all pointing to minimal coordination.
I mean, that's the crux of the problem, right? We have no coordination, we have no liaison planner.
Yeah.
If we did and we had a good one, we wouldn't be talking like this. We'd be working together and doing this.
And good isn't necessarily a reflection on the individual, it's a reflection on the fact that there's not continuity.
Yeah.
Do we want to point that out?
I say, do we want to put a blurb in there saying that?
Well, under recommended actions, why not?
Yeah. County needs to Hire full, pay more.
Well, I mean, I think we need to make the statement that New Windsor has been adversely affected by the lack of, sorry, the lack of a continuous county liaison from the planning. You know, we need to say something along those words, and I think it's fine to say that.
Yeah.
Because we have been adversely injured.
We aren't the smallest, right?
No, we agree.
So the recommended action, that's kind of like an explanation, and I can clean that, but the recommended action would be work with Carroll County Planning Department for a consistent staff liaison.
Could use the word regular, maybe, regular. Just.
I'm sorry, work, work with, instead of consistent or regular?
I don't know, whatever. I know what you're driving at, consistent is,
You know, maybe, you know, I don't know what else they could do. I mean, that's a tough thing, trying to balance this, you know, because they more, we are a smaller jurisdiction. Part of the solution, I think, probably falls on the town to have a part-time planner. I don't know whether that.
Well, I think you
yeah.
can say that, but I
Yeah.
think if the town-county agreement states that Carroll County is going to provide us with liaison to Carroll County Planning, they need to step up to the plate.
Yeah.
Whether their employees leave or whatever, they're responsible to do that and hiring that person. And if they want to change the town-county agreement to say, we're no longer gonna do that, then New Windsor is going to have to take a look and say, well, since the county is not gonna provide us somebody, maybe we need to fund another employee to act as that. And that's going to have fiscal implications for the town of New Windsor, because employees then require benefits and health insurance and retirement, and you start adding all that on there, you're looking at a possible tax increase to fund that position.
So
Maybe
instead
we
of,
didn't think about that when we met with the commission.
so then instead of no fiscal impact, it could very well be a,
Substantial.
Oh, yeah.
If New Windsor hadn't funded the position.
Yeah.
Boy, what is wrong with this?
We would recommend a jointly funded position.
Yeah, I would say, substantial fiscal impact.
Mark, I don't think we are looking for Carroll County to increase their planning support. We are looking for them to support us for the agreement. We're not asking for an increased support, we're asking them to do what they say.
Yeah.
What they agreed to do.
By the,
Yeah, consistent support per the agreement, I would think, yeah.
and I think it's the lack of staff by the county.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of,
staff.
it's a revolving door.
all departments.
Plus, each of these planners or these liaisons, it's not just like Javier or whoever we have, they're not just covering New Windsor. He said they do Tawnytown, they do other places, so you're expecting these guys to go to meetings 3 nights a week or whatever it is.
How long has our eagle been up there with a lame duck?
Oh, I just, as soon as you said that, I just noticed it.
A wounded duck.
A bad wing, yeah.
We had one house that broke the main off, and I forget, it was like $30 or something like that.
Wow.
It's plastic.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Mark.
I had to give the $30 to correct it. Yeah.
Sure.
If that's the issue, that it's $30.
When I start typing, I can't do much thinking, so, yeah, absent Carroll County plans.
Of course, we didn't notice it.
I didn't notice until
She
you
said
said
something else, and I went, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I immediately looked at the other one.
You can't see the other side.
We just had
But it's different, because those wings are down, and the ones over there are
Yeah.
up. It's kind of weird.
You knew all the area, got to know the area, you go higher down DC for it.
Different, yeah, different bird.
They come here and get training, and
Right.
then,
You do all the training.
and then they leave, you know?
Does that work?
How about non-existent Carroll County?
True.
Catch more flies with honey than vinegar. That's- I think we're on TV tonight, and I haven't seen the cameras move. So,
inconsistent.
What was that? That's just,
Giving a lesson, inconsistent things, well, not consistent, oh.
That would be absence.
Yeah.
Absence of tripping things. No, no.
would, but will need. Wanna get Gary, to put that in as a placeholder in the budget?
Might happen in this
Drew
year.
made that motion.
No, or it could,
Due to,
Inconsistent.
Carol, instead of absent, due to lack of as per the town agreement, the town.
or like you, say, share our planner with Union Bridge.
Well, technically, these plans are supposed to be done every 10 years. And one of the holdups that, the 2020 census, because they kept asking for that data through multiple people. That really didn't become available till 2024, dribs and drabs. You found some, Drew, I found some. So, and COVID certainly delayed that, but we're not going to start, we probably would start this in 30, 31 for the next 10-year plan. That's what I'm thinking. You start rolling through there, because my understanding is the data starts to become available at the end of, the census starts to get taken last couple months of whatever, 29, and gets wrapped up, and by the beginning of 31, the data starts to become available. That would be normal, my understanding. Or that was the expectation for this past time, and it really wasn't available in 24. So, it's not, I guess, really, too many words. I don't really know if that would become a budgeting issue for us until we got to this next time we were doing this comprehensive plan. Unless there's a major change with potential growth here in the town, or else, we got a couple significant things going on, where if we had a planner, that might be of some assistance. I don't know. It's another mouth to feed. So you were about to change the wording, instead of absent, you wanted,
Due to lack of Carroll planning support, as per the town county agreement, the town will need to hire. I don't know, I was just coming up with.
how about without consistent Carroll County planning support, consistent with the agreement, the town we will need to hire. Just jumping all over the place.
Remove that with consistent.
That's-
Well,
Yeah,
that's-
no, I think this is the one that goes that, you're right. There you go. I think that'll get some attention.
Yep. That's the purpose.
That's the purpose of it,
And
yeah.
I think that one of the things that as I go through the review, and I'll talk about this in a couple minutes, that we want to give if you will, an executive summary. We give this whole thing to the council, because they'll have to approve it. But there'll be some points, and, when I first kind of started thinking about this, I've got like 6 or 8 points. This would be one of the points we point out. We're expanding the growth area boundary to include the Hoff property, but also reducing it for, the Snyders, this, I don't remember what the other things were, but not a whole, but that's an executive summary, and my guess is, I'm not sure other than Dave, who goes into all the detail, you've been through it, I'm not sure who really on the town council is going to really go through this. So it kind of behooves us, with any kind of body you're giving something to prove, to kind of put out the highlights, the talking points, if you will, or anything that's controversial. So we're really, really asking we do this final review when you get this, to make a note so that we can talk about what goes in that final document, or executive summary. All right, we beat that horse. I did have a note to scratch this, ensure the required annexation process is followed. Did anybody else have that?
I had it scratched as well.
That scares me when you have a furrowed brow, Councilman Hoffman. 160. Oh, you know what? Wonder why that's on here twice. Oh, okay, that doesn't belong here. We already had that, it's no fiscal impact. This second item, ensure the required annex is not followed. I had that as scratched. And then we just added work with the planning department. See, Drew, I see you got a package here. Did you have it scratched, or did you still have it in there?
My page is
Yeah, I know. 161 is what was in the original one. It's just before chapter 14. It's the last page. Shows you what we've done. This is 161 in the last plan. We're at page 83 right now.
I don't have it scratched on.
I don't have that. I don't have it.
I have it on my original page, 160, 161 is scratched.
I'm just questioning, why would we scratch, ensure that the required annexation process is followed? Other than if it was in the wrong spot or something.
That's what I thought it was, in the wrong spot.
Rebecca thought it was mentioned before.
Okay.
Because we talked about annexation in another section.
I'm just going to make a note here in red.
It was item 6 in previous for this, in this chapter. Policy regarding annexation.
So, we're in chapter 13, which is interjurisdictional coordination and communication. So, it's talking about us working with the county, and if we were annexing in
We would need
property
to, we would need to.
that's not in our growth area boundary right now, putting it into the growth area boundary, there is an impact to the county.
Yeah.
As we just, saw with the Hoff property, right? So,
I think we need to look at.
I don't know that there's a harm having it here, because we do need to work with them, with the county annexation process. There's probably somewhere else in there that, we have it in our process, New Windsor's process for bringing something into the growth area, boundary, annexing property, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Still there. Housing and community design goals.
Randall.
I'm looking at this, the goals. Promote new development design that conveys a sense of place.
As opposed to,
Yeah.
A sense of peace.
Oh.
Encourage residential growth that meets the needs of those in all income levels. We don't, yes, the state is, but encourage residential growth.
we don't have.
We don't have any place to do that.
Oh, okay, we say that.
Well-
And we don't currently.
Right.
Okay, but if we're increasing our growth area boundary,
Mhm.
which we have in our plan, we're saying that possibly there could be growth in the future. And, so there is a goal that the residential growth meets something.
So,
I have a little bit of problem with the all income levels, because I personally
Right.
would not promote growth. I wouldn't say, hey, on hot property, you have to have everything from McMansions to subsidized housing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
it was called Section 8 when I was, yeah, Section 8 housing, but you're right.
Various income levels,
Across it.
as opposed to the
what's
all.
what's the proper word that we can use to,
Sounds.
You know, I think the second one, we could talk about that sense of a small town feel, something like that, we could, you know, work that in there somehow for number 2, but the first one, that whole thing with encourage, I struggle with that word,
right,
because we're not really encouraging.
right.
How about instead of explore, or leave open the possibility?
How about encourage any residential growth
That's,
that is, go back to that, consistent with the small town feel.
that's not part of the mandatory state requirements, is it, for comprehensive plan?
Well,
They kind of have, I don't know whether.
you're saying it would conflict with a certain income level?
No, the state has certain requirements.
Yeah.
Elements of your comprehensive plan.
That's still being discussed. But
I know you-
that's what
change-
Susan called me about. Susan Krebs called me about 6 months ago, wanted to know what we had in our plan for low-income housing, what we were doing about it, because that's something that the governor has been pushing. But I don't think there's any legislation that is requiring that.
So what if you said something a little nebulous, like encourage residential growth that meets the needs of the community?
It's nebulous.
It's right, it's nebulous, but when a developer is going to look at that parcel of property, he's going to build homes that meet the needs
Of the community.
of the
Yeah.
community, right? But he knows he needs to build as a builder to make it work as well.
Yeah.
And our town as a whole has housing that meets the needs of the community.
There's a certain economic profile.
We have all that. I'm trying to stay nebulous,
Don't get
that,
yourself.
because if Drew is right, if there's going to be stuff about all income level kind of stuff coming from the state, our nebulous statement, we could point to that and say, yes, we're encouraging our growth to meet
All the needs.
the needs of the community,
Yeah.
whatever that may be.
if we talk about workforce housing, I think that's the new term.
Yeah.
Public transportation, we aren't in a position to address, and we actually just struck something from here that talks about that. We aren't in a position to have, we don't have the economies of scale. So I like that, needs of the community, because we're not saying we're not looking at all income levels, but we aren't also saying that we are, just needs of the community.
Yeah.
I think the person that normally sits here would be fine with that term. She would be proud of you.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So what are we gonna do about this sense of place? More candles?
Change place to community? I mean, more nebulous.
That's more or less repeating, that's
Yeah, go
repeating.
back
Yeah.
to what you said about the small town feel.
Yeah, a sense of small town feel. Do that.
Should that be in quotes?
Why not? That way we can create whatever definition we want.
You know, throughout the document that we're trying to maintain, you know, we're not stopping growth or anything like that, but we want it to be in harmony with the small town.
That's what we did with Snyder. That's what we did with Snyder. We wanted them to, you know,
I don't know if we were successful or not, but that's what we
yeah,
tried.
that's what we,
That all may change when we have these other two large things coming in there, that small town feel, but that'll be difficult to keep that consistent once we start talking about those. Doubling in size takes, potentially could take away. But that's down the road. Okay, small town feel, quotes. The ugly green thing, that was, Randolph was gonna get numbers on that.
Yeah.
I have trouble believing that it's changed from the last time. But I don't know where to go to get this number.
We have not annexed
Mhm.
any property into the town, I don't believe, during this period. So if you would assume that the numbers were correct back then, they're
They'd be correct
probably pretty close to being still accurate today. And, you know, the county would be the one that we would have to go to to get that information.
This was 2 planners ago that we were going to
This
get
was
that.
from 2006, so in 20 years, I don't believe we annexed in.
I remember discussions about Hibbert and then now Hoff. Those are the only 2 that I can recall. Okay. I'm just going to leave it there. Alrighty. So, based on what I got from Carroll County, this is how the acreage looks, and I did put it high-low order. Acres within town limits and how it breaks down for residential or zoning code. And then the paragraph there is where I just highlighted some of the, what to look at. And if you recall, when the Hawk team talked with us, when they asked for us to include them in the growth area boundary, they had indicated that they wanted, then they, once that was approved, then they would be coming into the town council, and once the town council approved this, that they likely would come in and want to get the zoning change from R3 to 3.5, so they could have a little more density, which would then allow there to be, I think we actually mentioned it in here somewhere, what 3.5 will get you. It'll get you something. I said it earlier today. But this kind of puts some numbers with how the town looks right now. R3 is the major part of the town, and that is 3 units per acre.
So Mark, does your table 18, does that include the Hoff property?
Good question. No, it would not.
See, it probably should, right? Because in our plan, we are including the Hoff property in the.
Yeah, good point.
And it's currently zoned, well, it's not currently zoned.
Agriculture.
You know what, I think I should probably put a note on this chart. Does
Agriculture.
not include, because we just made that decision,
We're probably ag.
or the recommendation, because that hasn't been approved by the council. They aren't gonna do
I
that.
understand.
Yeah.
But if the council approves it, we're not gonna go back and update the chart.
So I can make a note on here, does not include, was it 40 acres? I know, I'm sure it's in one of the notes, one of the meeting notes. That does not include the 40, I'm hesitant to put it in here because it's not really in the boundary yet.
But that's not the right way to be looking at it though, right? Because we are looking at it, that we're putting the hot property in the very boundary.
I hear what you're saying, but when the county gave us this information, 12/24, it wasn't in there yet.
Agree.
That's why
Okay.
I'm inclined to say, since we're getting the data from them, that there be a note does not include.
Yeah, I guess that's the way
We're
to do it.
also
Yeah.
removing the snare.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
Just subtract one from the other and check. That's the adjustment. on
Well,
acreage.
the number that you have, the 254, is
Right.
40 acres.
Would be 40 acres higher.
It's 40
Take
acres
away
higher-
the
40
Snyder.
acres higher than we had.
Yes. It's high, so it'll be 294 minus whatever the Snyder is.
The old number was 208, and we're sitting at 254.
Oh, okay, so the old number was 208?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
208.24.
There it is, yeah. Well,
So I don't know,
well, that was in 2006, that I wonder what,
yeah, I wonder,
okay. Yeah, that gets,
the numbers are, you know,
I saw that,
I don't know.
and I mentioned here several times that I'd like people to look at the numbers when they're in there, because it's just that, there is not consistency. And I tried my best to make these consistent from page to page. That is a really good question, I'm not. Yes, you see the R3 is only 20 acres higher. R1, yeah, now I remember that, because they're all different. How's the village center changed? It shouldn't be changed, but it's 12 higher.
I mean, they're all a little different.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe your thought of just putting an asterisk there and say it does not, is the way to go. Because you're right, we changed those numbers, then they're not from the county, so that would not be.
And you don't know how accurate the 2006 totals were.
Yeah, we don't know if they were right
Yeah.
or either, right?
Yeah.
It might just been changing some numbers.
Yeah, the old 208's from 2006.
So you should say that was.
All due respect, who's to say this is correct?
Exactly.
They're, and I
We had them, Gary had
was working with the county
Mhm.
to go through this, all the growth area boundary stuff, because it was affecting our water, you know, we had to make sure our water and sewer was correct based upon the growth area boundary, so we can have all those numbers. So there was an effort, I was gonna say last summer, but probably the summer before now, time flies, that they went through and did all that for us again. So,
There's the part of me sitting here that feels like, let's make this as like as close to accurate as possible. But the accountant in me says, I like pointing to something that says, this is where I got it from. So that when somebody down the road questions us, because I can't really attest to any of those other numbers, but I can attest to that does not include. Now, I remember asking that question.
that's fair, that's fair.
There, where it says in parentheses, inside town limits. Well, if it's inside the town limits, it's not a growth area boundary, because it's already been annexed, correct? Or is that a different word?
You know what, good point, because I did, that's my addition on here. Does this chart say this last time? Yeah, this last time, the chart said town of New Windsor.
Yeah, it just says town.
I added inside town limits because I asked them, is this the full GAB or is this? And it's inside town limits. That's what I got from Javier.
Well, I mean, if it's already been annexed and it's in the town limits, it's not really a growth area boundary, right?
You know, I think it should not have GAB on there. Just town of New Windsor.
That's what the old one said. It just says town of New
Yeah.
Windsor.
Yeah. I mean, I know I got that
Yeah,
from,
it's confusing.
yeah, that's what I got from Javier.
It's confusing all of us
Yep.
right now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it as town
Yeah,
of New
there you
Windsor.
go. Oh,
How's that?
hey,
There you go.
okay.
I'm gonna leave that as acres within town limits, but I still think it's worth the note, because that does,
Yeah, I think that's fair.
oh, no, because it hasn't been annexed. It's the Snyder is in, no, that's in the GAB also, it's not in the
I thought
town
that
limits.
was in like priority funding area, or is that the one from the same?
No, they're different.
Different, that's why, that
Yeah.
priority funding is why they wanna go 3.5.
Yes. Exactly.
They can get state.
Well, I don't know if I have any of the new maps. For sure, since it's not annexed, it's not in the town limits, and we haven't, that's down the road, so Hull's not in this discussion anymore. But possibly Snyder is. Because they might have been in the town limit. No, because they were asked to take them out of the GAB. Okay, I don't think from the map that they're in the town limit, but they're in the GAB. They were in the GAB, Snyder, but they're coming out. So that wouldn't affect this. And for sure, Hoff doesn't. They're being asked to be brought into the GAB. So we're back to not having the note. And we'll build on Drew's confusion about the way the wording was before and just take that out. Thanks for being confused, Drew.
That's very.
For all of us, yep.
Yes. We thank you for your confusion. You clarified for us.
The benefits of being older.
So.
What was the star?
That's the total.
Okay, okay.
I started doing that on some of these things because we reference and talk about them from tables, and it's like, well, there it is, and you can go see it. It'll bounce off. And then when you get into the county, the R 20,000 and R 40, of course, that's not even on this chart. I don't know if that needs to be in here. Oh, never mind, it is, because there's the next table.
The new one, the business. That new one that we kind of figured with the liver problem, is that? What was that?
What was your question?
That we create that one zone that is, what was that, a business?
Off of 75?
Yeah.
It's a neighborhood business.
Neighborhood business.
That's, yeah,
Is that included in this one?
yes. Or it's included in the map anyway. I don't know if that.
No, it's not in the town limit. It's in the GAB. On map 1.
But we did create that zone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
We did.
It
Yes,
says neighborhood zone. That's the only red one on the whole thing, is it?
Yeah.
It says neighborhood business, yep.
well, there's that red around the railroad tracks.
Oh, yeah. It is a little bit, yeah,
Down at David Coe's house is red.
yeah. I see that.
So now we're on to table 19, residential zoning acreage. So let's talk about this one. This is outside town limits.
Do we want to get rid of the GAB on this as well?
Well, that gets interesting. Because town of New Windsor, outside town limits?
It would have to be included that, yeah. I think.
So does that mean then we should go do the previous one? God, I don't like thinking. I stopped that a couple of years ago.
Whatever we decide, whoever gets this next time is going to think we were wrong, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, that's CPA outside. There you go. We can further confuse people.
So was that comprehensive planning here?
Well, that's what this page was for. CPA is community planning area. And apostrophe S is community planning areas, in case you didn't know what an apostrophe meant. Wow, okay. Okay. I think that's good. That will kind of clear, that way, we don't have to get into the GAB issue up here, it's town New Windsor, down here it's town New Windsor, the CPA, but that is outside town limits, okay. Now, so, Hoff's not in that yet, because they're out in the county asking us to bring them in. So, I think it would be worthwhile, though, if I made a note here. The Hoff property is not included, but that's right, they won't be outside the town limit. They will still be outside the town limit. They're just not in.
They'll be in the gap, not in the.
Yeah, they'll be, yes. So here I'll make the note. Okay. Oh, yeah, and the other part about this is, this thing from them 12/24 was in 25 is when we voted to remove Snyder, or make the recommendation to remove, so it is not, would get a little mushy if it was 12/25, but it's 12/24 were their numbers. So, this is just a little summary of what's in here. 91% single-family homes were up from 82 up to 91. Multifamily have dropped a little bit. I mean, these are their numbers. I get uncomfortable with that. There was only one, there's no longer a mobile home or trailer. Anybody know where that was? In 2000, we had one in the housing type for New Windsor.
We had a mobile? Huh.
Yeah.
So this is saying, from the 2000 period to 2020, there were only 19 additional homes added. So 2020, we certainly would have started and had people from the reserve that would not have been in the 2000.
And there were still homes being built in Blue Ridge Manor.
Occupied in Snyder Summit. They were
Blue Ridge
starting.
Manor was still being built in 2021.
Well,
That's when I moved in.
They'll build school.
Well, wait a second, no, you're right, way late. The end.
2001, maybe.
No, they went up until like 2005 or 6, because the back, very end of that last road, the end of the road on the top, that's when they put in all the $400,000 plus, and everything, or 300 plus. They were built mostly 200 plus, and then they put in
these are
300
the
plus
census numbers.
for the last like half dozen. Because they added square foot.
539, I can point,
In
and
the alley, I don't know what they
Behind
call
the
it.
regular, really, behind the house.
Yeah, across the street.
Oh, across the
Yeah, I was thinking, I've been here 25 years, what am I thinking?
that's what we did last time. I got nothing, but we know intuitively there's got to be more than 19 additional dwellings. But
They go those, I went up and then where it made the turn and came down towards Main Street and it's back behind.
so,
Up from 316 Main Street, yeah, there was a.
Rest is the break.
keeping with that 539,
Wait a minute, go back once.
of course,
So the reserves, are they considered multifamily, Dave, up there, the bulk of those?
Condominium. The problem with that,
They're
They
not,
get
they're not,
brochures
they're
out.
not single family though,
Semi-detached,
There's,
semi-detached.
so they would.
Or villa, is that a term, a housing type, villa? Isn't that what you're more or less?
well, that was the style, and for a while they had townhouse with brochures advertising it as townhouses, then they changed that. So, the condominium is a legal term, I don't think it has to do with.
It just has to do with
Condominium
maintenance.
means you own everything inside the walls, you don't own the
There's no
walls.
maintenance outside or anything of that, right?
I'm just trying to figure out when they.
I've been saying for months, these numbers, when you compare, so maybe I just take out to 2,000, so that we don't have that as an issue, anybody would look at it?
You see, they want to take out they don't have, would multifamily be the same as a townhouse?
I would consider multifamily being townhouses. I think when
It
you,
went down.
precipitously,
It
yes,
went 90 to 48.
47%
If
decrease.
it was the other way around, if it was 40
Yeah.
and 80 or 90, I agree.
Townhomes aren't multifamily dwellings.
But it's not,
Townhomes aren't
you know what, there was
multifamily
83
dwellings, that's an
units
apartment.
at the
Right.
reserves that would have went up between.
I think what he means, like,
'Cause there's multiple dwellings attached.
I feel like the 428 to 491 would make sense. You know, that seems to be like a reasonable number. Why the multifamily would drop doesn't make sense. It's not that we've had something,
No, I mean,
because we're such a small municipality, this kind of thing can stand out.
Maybe we're better off just getting rid of the 2000 and
Give her the table.
Yeah,
because I don't know.
I'm fine with that.
We cannot explain, we did not lose, you know.
we didn't lose 50 single-family houses,
The multifamily.
or multifamily.
Right, we did not.
But don't you remember when that quarry went in and there was that big sinkhole?
I mean,
The mentors flew over.
multi-being homes, maybe? That we just did some aliens were living here we didn't know about? There's some aliens we
All right,
did.
so that will come out.
Oh, wait a minute. Could that be because the school came in? And, because when it was the Brethren, weren't some of those units considered part of the multifamily? Would that be it?
Yeah, there were apartments, yes.
So could it be the loss of the Brethren Center going to
Going
the school?
15 or 20.
Yeah, it wasn't 40.
It wasn't that many.
I think our life would be simple if I took that
I
out.
just think it's a math error.
Yeah.
With the whole table or?
No, I'm taking out the 20.
Or take out, yeah.
Yeah,
Because that's
So many
irrelevant, so.
questions. What happened in 2000 stays in
Yeah.
that trailer, where would that trailer have been?
I figured out where.
That was probably
Was it by
Bob
the
Dixon's.
railway tracks?
Yeah, it was up here, you know that little alley, I don't know whether it's called Rook Drive. It comes down,
No, it's not. Oh, you're talking about on the other side, right?
it comes down past 316 Main Street.
Is it
The
Manning?
big white apartment, Manning Drive. You turn in across from Jay Golo's office, and it goes up, and then it makes a sharp turn and comes down to Main Street. The property, well, it was pretty long.
Oh, there you go.
Well, it's the old original brick school,
Yes, the red brick.
the red brick
Yes.
school, it was behind there. I think an in-law or, yeah, it was one, yeah, it was just like a single wide, which about the size of a camper nowadays. It was a small. But I thought that was a long way.
Well, isn't this special?
But yeah, that's where that was.
Okay, on this chart, 539,
Right.
let me be quickly, the 539, all right? Son of a gun, that mobile home comes back. Devil was in the detail. And here's your answer about single family.
That's right, it's mobile.
Like New Windsor.
Yeah.
So the purpose on this one was more of a focus on owner occupied versus renter occupied.
Oh, how can you?
So that mobile home is there, and since we're taking off the 2020, and we won't have
There
to,
was that many vacant houses?
at the time of the census, yes.
Wow.
That's consistent with the other periods, yeah. I want to say at least once a month, Kim will tell me about somebody's sold their house and moving, yeah. And I would do it one, maybe.
Oh, I just didn't do that completely.
So I guess if it's on the market and they're not living there, it's considered vacant? Because I would think typically you get sold and,
This is coming from the census.
yeah, that's kind of weird, okay.
Funny, I don't know how many sections were done on, like, Snyder Summit, but.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I want to say back with the 2020 numbers, it was, might it be on here? 34.
Okay.
And we got 43 here. Of course, when you got the multifamily, you got apartments in there. So single family, it was same old 18. So we got 27 here between the two types of single family, okay. And 18 and 2,000. The others, the apartments, rent or occupied.
Multifamily, 10 units. 10 units.
That probably would have been,
Is that?
that probably would have been of the center, that probably would have been, Windsor Hall.
In 2020?
No,
Oh, no, no.
And it says we have 17 of them, is that what that's saying? Is that
Yeah.
what it's saying?
Yeah.
Right, but it's not, I mean, that's 17 dwellings.
That are
That's
10 unit
17.
plus.
Right. So 17 and 12 is 29. It should be
That's
10.
rent-
Oh, I see what it is.
Renters.
Yes, right, they're renters. So if it's a 17 unit place, that's 10 plus. If it's a
So,
Multifamily.
okay, so you're talking
Well, wait a minute,
29.
where do we have
Uh,
any multifamily 10 unit plus in town?
Drew?
I've never, I mean, like, 4 or 5 apartments and, you know, like down
Down to the end, down Main.
Calcutta or up at the incubator, they
Or across the 7-Eleven, you have some apartments, but
names for those places.
you don't have any 10 unit, do we?
All right.
How many, across from State Park? There's probably only like 4 or 5. Yeah.
1, 2, there's 1, 2, and then you had that corner one that's with a bay window, that's empty.
But there's-
4, there might only
there's
be,
Second floor.
you know, there's probably no more than 6 now.
I was gonna say 7, but there's,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any more than that.
There's not 10.
And there's not,
No.
at the bottom of the hill, the Main, there's not
No.
that many.
And up there at 316, though, the white, the 3-story, there's maybe 9 at the most there.
I mean, what's the census included, like, Springdale, is that? incorporated?
Oh, because they're attached?
I don't,
There's that single family attached.
no,
Oh.
I'm talking about the school, they don't include that in the
No, they-
census.
To me, an educational facility would be a separate.
Yeah. That's, yeah. these
So
are
Mark, this
dwellings.
all came from the census data.
Yes.
And for New Windsor, under multifamily 10 unit plus, this is the data we got.
You see that?
Now, I can neither confirm nor.
Again.
I can deny, but I definitely can't confirm.
I could further go and say, because several of these I got from Javier. I could say, it's census data from Carroll County Planning Department.
No, but isn't it 7, 0, 0, 0?
Okay, that's the same, that's
They're not occupied.
Yeah.
That's the same data. That's the same data that's in our original plan.
Some of it is, yes.
Yeah. I mean, that 10 plus thing,
Yeah,
the numbers are the same, 17, 12, 29.
I could combine the multifamily.
1, 18, the number above it, 9, it's the same thing.
I could combine the multifamily, all of that, and just have owner occupied being 7, and renter occupied 33, 43, 53, 67.
The only thing I figured, he just carried that over from the 2,000.
but there's a couple changes, but not many. It's like he left it, he gives, let's change a number or two.
But even 2,000. 10 units and apartments in one.
I struggle with data that makes no sense. I don't know what to do with it. If you leave it in here and someone questions you, we're just like, I don't know, it's what came out of the,
From the census.
came from the census.
One of the, who did I talk to about this census? I don't think it was Javier. Might have been when we were up there in October. We were talking about the census data. I think it was the Brenda lady. And I said, I hear, because, Gary and I always have disagreements on what the number of citizens are, the residents. Well, he's got current data he gets from Carroll County Planning Monthly. This is 2020 data. So we're going to have a difference because State Summit, built out during that period. And then obviously the reserve was just about wrapped up by 2020. So, but still, there were still people coming in from that. So yeah, the numbers are going to be higher now. And that's the audience. But for this, I think we may have a total like he has, but then we're not going to have this breakdown. And that's, at least it's consistent. So we could, like, we're having this discussion, 2000, when I would challenge, it says 2000. So it's the census 2000 is what you're looking at versus the 2020 census 2000. And I see the same thing you are. It's highly unusual that the 17 and 17 for the multifamilies are going to be the same both periods. Renter occupy, and the same vacancy rate. So must be the same units and just use that. I could combine all those together and just call it multifamily, 2+ units. If that,
Can we just,
or just strike this all together?
over in there, just give like a link to online data?
I'm not doing that. Well, let me rephrase. If you'd like to go do that, A, I don't know how to do that.
No. I
And
mean,
B-
just put a blurb in there that if you're, down in New Windsor type of dwelling, and just put a link, tell them they can go.
Drew,
look themselves.
You need to break it down.
The census data that we are getting, that when I ultimately started getting stuff, is essentially an Excel spreadsheet dump.
Yeah.
And you go through and you gotta find the New Windsor line. That's really what it
Well,
is.
you can put in like the town itself or the zip code.
I say simplify
But
it,
is that-
just make it single and multi.
Is that an,
Yes.
it's not an official, that part of the.
That's kind of that's a summary from the census. That gives this breakdown that the census will just have whatever the total is for your area.
Combined.
This American Community Survey is further breaking that out. And that's where I think it was Brenda said to me, there's the actual count that the census people get, and then the professionals will look at that, and there's a factor that they will build in for what they
I think it should be.
should be.
Yeah.
Because I know I've heard many times, we're a poor turnout that we had. But I hear that in a lot of communities. And they come back because it can't be give or take 15, 20%. Or can it? Who really knows? Because people keep moving. They won't stand still so I could count them. All 360 million. So.
I'd say combine.
I think we have a consensus around here to combine it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Wow, I missed that. Good.
And I think you take out mobile homes.
Just do single family, multi,
Multifamily.
yep, single and multi.
The single family, multifamily, but have the owner occupy versus renter occupy. Got it.
Yep.
All right. Let me just make a note.
Beating our heads in that.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Occupancy by type of tenant.
Isn't that kind of already done, kind of saying?
It was, this might be of some value because this, it kind of shows, I guess it doesn't really. In the vacancies, I don't know. Yeah, I could take this one out. It does show that of the owner occupied homes, we did have more that were vacant. Again, that's a snapshot. So when you talk about a vacancy, it's not really a reflection of anything. You're always going to have something. I can just strike it. Because this 539, the breakdown of owner occupied, renter occupied, vacant, we already have that. We'll be up here.
So then the first is 22.
I'm gonna say that's 22. Occupied,
That line,
oh, I'm sorry.
no, down in the paragraph, it says below, shows the change. Table 22, so if you want to take out the table, you have to take out that.
Oh, yeah, oh, yes, yes. All right. Let me see where we are on this. No, because I got 8:03. I think we could maybe wrap this up in 15 minutes, half hour max, or just have this on next month's meeting, and then for sure we will finish up.
Really nothing pressing on next month's agenda, is it?
Not that I know of. I checked, didn't hear anything from, nothing has turned up that the mayor is aware of about the school. Yeah, they haven't responded back, and the officer, they're not gonna be able to do anything until we get this finished and get the town approval. So, all right. So, we only have like 5 pages left.
Yeah.
You guys wanted to talk tonight, darn it.
It's all Drew's fault.
Damn you, Drew.
That darn mobile home.
That's right, that mobile home.
We pretty much stayed on track.
Yeah, I thought we,
Okay.
We didn't veer off too far.
Upcoming meeting, Monday, 4/27 is our next one. And I will go out on a limb and promise we will finish this up. And then what I would like to do is, I think we're far enough along. There are some things in there talked about, well, it looks like we have this in the same spot, several places, I'll pull that out, I haven't done that. I'll go start doing that this month, and after we wrap it up next month, I can, within a week, turn it around and have a hard copy that can be available for each of you to have to look through one more time. I'll send it to you electronically, but I'll also print it out. The meeting after that is Monday, May 25th, which is Memorial Day. Normally, we don't meet, I guess this could be open if we want, but I propose maybe we meet on Tuesday of that week,
That sounds fun.
26.
the 26th. Excellent, yes. There will be a carnival and parade this year.
Yay!
And what are the dates of that? They were in May this year.
Twenty-third.
The 19th to the 23rd, and the parade will be on the 20th.
Okay, so
Carl will run from the 19th to the 23rd.
the parade is the 20th, okay. And town cleanup day, Dave?
April, last Saturday of, was that 28th? So 20,
Let's see, I got the calendar. Last Saturday of April is the 25th.
25th. That'll also be bulk trash day as well.
Yes. So 4/25 is bulk trash and cleanup day.
If you're available, please come out and help our support council members so they're the only ones to show up.
No doubt.
Plant some flowers and spread some mulch. It'd be helpful.
I've spent 2 years with the excuse of my knee. I don't think I can use that again for a third one. And then also the April 9th meeting, just
Yeah.
as a reminder of when Dave gave to us.
The firehouse.
No, that's the firehouse. I did not have that. Okay.
Say we had
Any
a,
other announcements?
I say we had a date for a celebration outing when this thing gets done for the.
I'm thinking Singapore.
I would say, let's just go to Lorden's Pub and pretend we're in Ireland.
Also, bring that up at the budget, that, you know, we're gonna have an outing to celebrate the end of the
Planning
year.
Commission, VIP meeting.
I like the outing.
I would be more than willing to host something. We could finish up here and we could walk over to, you know, since I'm close, and I can have some stuff already started and we can sit over there. I gotta have some liquid. So we'll talk about that next meeting. Yeah, okay, yeah, because April could also be chilly too. We could do that after the May meeting. Coming attraction, it was, God, what was I talking to? Somebody. But when we finish this up, and we aren't that far, then we'll turn it over to council, and hopefully they're not gonna have a lot of changes they don't want us to make. But we really should start looking at the town code. And we'll have a debriefing from ourselves about how to do this review the next time. And what lessons learned, which could be easy enough. But then there will be, we'll need to slide and start looking at the code. And everybody should have a copy of that, but I think what I'll do, I'll just get a hard copy for everybody and turn that over to you. You can have that, and then, of course, we'll do kind of the same way. Is it in the budget next year to do on the screen over here? No. Oh, okay.
That doesn't mean that Wayne Myers won't be able to find one for us.
Oh, that's good, yeah. Okay, were there any other announcements? Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Rebecca motions, second?
I'll second.
Second by Kevin. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, 7-0.
I always want to say, no, don't close the